to find like a different, I don't know, alternative for toilet paper. I don't know what that'd be.
Bidets.
The three shells.
I have a bidet.
Figure out what those really mean.
It's
Yeah,
okay. You still have to use toilet paper, but not as much.
Okay, does anyone know how the
Just at the end, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Someone
Yeah,
said
just at
three
the end.
seashells.
Just
Oh,
at the
sorry.
end, right?
Okay, someone
I
said
love
three
bidets.
seashells.
Bidets are
Anyone
great.
have any
Bidets are
idea how
great.
those three seashells work?
It's like $30 and you can just attach it to your toilet, and it's helpful, but you still have to use toilet paper, just not as much. I mean, now they have like advanced ones that have like warmers on them and stuff, so you
Like
can,
a jet stream.
like a warm jet stream or something. Whatever floats your boat.
Like the hydro blast.
I know there was one
Right.
restaurant, Japanese restaurant in Detroit that has that. It's in the tip of my tongue, but I don't know the name of it.
I mean, yeah, I guess that's the future. I mean, it's been around, but we can do that.
Anyway, for those of us just joining, we're currently talking about alternatives to
What a
toilet
time.
paper and
I'm
went
gonna
down a
slowly
strange
back out of the
road.
room.
So welcome, Jeff. Jeff from Cleveland is here.
Hi guys.
Well,
Hello.
What's up, Jeff?
And Jake Williams from Boston, formerly Detroit, just came in. So I think
Oh, yeah,
everyone's
you
coming
got all
from
What's up, guys?
Boston now, coming in.
All the Boston folks are coming to crash your party.
Nice.
Welcome.
Oh, Kate's here too.
Yeah.
New York in the house. Nice.
Upstate
Too
New York
strong.
with crew rolling in, taking
A
over.
real New York.
Dude, it's on 2 pages. This is cool. All right.
Yeah,
Jake, how are you
there's
doing,
like
man?
40 people
We're
here right
getting
now.
to the
So
second
pretty good.
page.
All right, I'll wait a little bit longer for people to get here because then we'll start going. So Adam, I don't know if Nick's coming back. He might.
He will join in when he does get back. He's on a client
Okay,
call
cool.
right now. So
Client call. Oh man, devoted. It's
apparently,
like he owns a studio or something.
I know, right? So yeah, he will join in whenever he can.
Based
Brad-
upon the
Brad's
chat,
here.
I
Brad from
joined at a
Chicago's
very
here.
wild time.
Hi,
Hey, Steve,
What
what's
did you
up?
say, Steve?
Steve Savoy's here. Nice, nice.
Were we
Morgan's
talking
here.
about
Morgan from
bidets
Grand
when you
Rapids is
joined,
here.
Steve?
Hi, Morgan.
I don't know what happened. All I'm reading is in the chat, and I was like, I don't know how y'all got to that point, but yeah, here we are.
Any conversation between humans, if it goes long enough, turns into a poop conversation. I mean, just natural progression of everything.
so a little crap post?
Yeah. Very
A little
nice.
shit post? I'm sorry, I couldn't resist.
It's okay. We are recording this meeting, so if anyone says something and they're like, I don't want that to be posted anywhere, let me know.
So now there's evidence.
Yeah.
Wait.
Also,
Just turned away.
if you haven't used Zoom before, in the participants area, there's a raise hand function. So later on, if we have questions and stuff while people are presenting, you can go ahead and raise your hand, and then I'll see that and I'll unmute you and I'll call on you, et cetera, et cetera. Though it pretty much works. You can just jump in. I mean, there's not that many people here. I mean, there's a lot of people here, but I don't know. As long as you don't talk over people too much, you can just jump in. So
And how do you do this raise hand function?
it should be right under the participants panel. So on the bottom is the chat panel and the participants panel, or the buttons for them. So turn on participants. Bottom. See it on the right side.
Okay.
Cool. Molly and Jess, I don't know you. Where are you from? You're muted right now. So
Hi, we're coming from Boston.
hi.
Well,
Welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome. Jim Davis, I don't know you either. Where are you from?
How's it going? Just outside of Boston.
Okay, cool. Everyone's the whole Boston crew.
We had,
Yeah.
what did we have, guys? Like 12, 13 people on the call? Something like that? I don't think
15.
everybody could come over, but.
15. Learn to count, Jake.
Oh, sorry.
Ooh.
They're filtering in right now, so.
Harsh.
So cool, yeah. All right. Who just joined that whose name is graphics?
I hope it's not the troll.
That's a really cool name
Oh,
to
no.
have. If it is, I will cancel this role.
It's the ghost of all your unfinished products.
The ghost of graphics past.
Yeah.
Cool. So yeah, I don't know what else to ask everyone. I'm glad you're all here. It's nice to see you. I have no idea when I'll see any of you in person again, if ever. So this, this is nice.
This is just life now.
This is just life. It's gonna get. What I keep saying is how. What's weird is this will become normal, and then like seeing people is gonna be super weird. So.
Yeah.
You know.
It's gonna
We
be
just
like,
never leave the Zoom call. We never have to go outside again.
Okay, Cecilia, those are some really nice posters you got there, I have to say.
Oh yeah.
Was it?
You are muted, by the way. Cecilia.
One of them's a Polish Raiders of the Last Ark poster.
Oh.
Ooh.
I've been totally. If people are saying stuff in the chat, I've been missing all of that. So.
Looks like Gavin's making poop jokes.
Nice. Okay. Oh, three seashells. That's from Demolition Man.
Demolition Man, yeah.
Demolition Man. Joyous morning.
Yeah.
So cool. Okay, you're all here. I guess we'll get going on like presentation stuff. For those of you that don't know, I also host Monday meeting once a month, but it happens every Monday. So if you don't join that call and you have like free time and you're home alone, like you all are now, join Monday meeting. It's a lot of people I know have calls with their work at that time, but it's every Monday at 10 a.m. Eastern. Just go to mondaymeeting.org and join in. So it's another call just like this, everyone talking and having discussions. A little more of a structure. We usually have some links and stuff, but it's a great time. It's just like this, easy, good way to connect, start your week out nice. Join that in the future. And then, yeah, Mograph Mondays. Well, normally we're a super cool local meetup that happens in a few cities. Now we are online, of course, until things get back to it. But yeah, kind of Mograph Mondays mission statement, I'll say, has been to have like kind of a more casual networking meetup, something kind of that just feels more comfortable, that's a little more geared towards motion designers and let's just say, nerds, So that's kind of what we've been cultivating. And I like that it's going on in other cities and it's super fun that we've been able to branch out and have some other cities do things. If anyone else from the other cities wants to say something or anything like that or whatever, anything, that's fine if you don't. But anyway, I'm just super happy.
Just want to say thanks for letting us crash the Detroit Zoom.
Oh yeah,
here.
for sure.
It's awesome to kind of keep it going. A lot of people locally in Cleveland were grateful. I'm not sure that everybody's gonna be able to make it, but thanks again.
Oh well, no problem.
Absolutely.
Cool. So here we are. So presentation wise, we're gonna get going. So yeah, the next thing is Dave Holm and I are gonna talk here about Recess, the short that we made recently. So if you haven't seen it or you need to see it again, I'm going to post the link in the chat right now. Since there's like a delay, you should go ahead and go watch that real quick while I get my screen sharing going. So check that out just so you're kind of up to speed on it. Now everyone's quiet, so that's fun. Actually, I'll play it so then I know. I'll just play it on my own. So I know. So yeah, that's normal Mograph. Not drones or anything flying in the air. So some normal Mograph to show. All right, just a second. Let me fix
I
my
wish this
window
thing
here.
auto recognized when people were clapping, so it would unmute.
Oh yeah. You probably set your own to like do that, but whatever. Okay, so recess, yes. All right. Hang on a second here to move a couple things around for my presentation screen. Cool. So yeah, this is the piece that Dave Holm and I worked on recently. Dave, you're here.
Hello.
Unmuted. Hi, Dave. So it was Dave's concept. So I'd like him to start off kind of with what he was thinking.
Hello, my name is Dave Holm, and I'm an animator from Detroit, part of Boxfort. And this idea of recess I came up with it about, I don't know, like 4 months ago. Like, what is that feeling you have when you're still in elementary school and you like are longing to go to recess? And like, it's super beneficial, I think, for yourself as a person to have that like time to just go explore yourself as a person. And like, it's needed, I think, to develop like creative skills. And that was just kind of my idea. I wanted to formulate that into like a little short animation that with just simple shapes and some cool music. And hopefully like it came across that way when you watch it. So yeah, that's kind of how it came to be.
Cool. So yeah, I'm gonna start going through this presentation, and hang on a second. It's paused because I went to a different, shoot, what's going on here? Why is it not showing? All right, hang on everyone. Why is that not? There we go, okay. So yeah, here, I'm going through here. Dave, you can just chime in because I'm gonna be going over some of your sketches. So recess, here's some of the early sketches. Dave, if you wanna like chime in on any of this.
I mean, these are just like really quick, like, oh, I have this idea. Let me just jot it down real quick, like on the back of like an envelope. That's usually what I do. I don't like to draw like on just like grab anything and just draw on it if it's a quick idea. So yeah, just to get the idea out there.
Yeah, and the idea kind of came up like, I think months before we really worked on this.
Yeah.
Because I remember you showing me these, and like, you were kind of, you always have like a few things kind of in the works or in your head. And I remember you showing this to me a while ago, like, what do you think about this? And like, it went through a lot of iterations where it like, kind
like
of.
It was going to be originally just like an After Effects project, not even touching Cinema 4D.
And it was going to have like a different story and everything. In fact, I think this shows kind of the current workflow and everything. So yeah, and here's more like the storyboarding coming along.
It was like way more involved, and we wanted to get this done in a month, so I had to kind of pare it down.
Because the goal has been for us to do like one Boxfort short a month, and that might be a little derailed now due to the entire world, failing.
Oh, we're still going strong, right?
we're going. We'll hopefully we'll see. But anyway, that was the goal. It's like basically we had about a month to work on this, so it was there. So yeah, Dave had sketched it and kind of talked to me about it, and I was like, oh, like if we do this in 3D, we can do this and that, and we kind of went back and forth for a while. Then we got moving on it, and kind of for a bit, I think we were kind of taking turns working on it. Like days that we didn't have client work, one of us would work on it, the other would check it out, chime in, just kind of typical back and forth until we both had a chance to really work on it full speed ahead, the last couple weeks. And here's more of the sketches kind of showing the whole flow of the story. We went back and forth on how we do the story and how we make it loop and everything. And then after that is some of the style frames that Dave drew initially. Some more here. So knowing that we were going to do this in 3D, after Dave had set up these style frames, I took them and I was going to figure out how to build this all in 3D to work and do the transitions we were hoping for. So because I knew how we were going to animate this, kind of like blocks moving around and changing shapes, I wanted to build everything just with splines and extrudes. So I would just make a spline shape in Cinema, extrude it so it's a block, add a bevel to it, and then there's like one of the rendered cubes with the wood texture on it. And the reason I did that was because I knew it'd be animating things like this, where the shapes kind of transform. And it'd be really complex or unnecessarily complex to do it with 3D shapes with more points, because you'd have to, you know, be on a front view and you'd have to make sure you select all the points. And if you select the front point and not the back points, and then lots of things could happen. So I just thought, let's just do it this way. So in this sense, you only had to animate the splines, and then all the 3D would just follow like this, as you can see here. So once I figured out that system, I went forward and started building it in Cinema 4D. So I would just bring in Dave's sketches and his style frames and just draw splines all the way around there and fill it in that way, further and further. And then we got to animating. So I keep messing up this slideshow because I'm flipping between the chat. So I'm sorry if I don't see the chat because I'm going to keep missing stuff. All right. So then the animation started. So after I built it up, I handed it back to Dave. We kept going back and forth. You know, we had to make sure we didn't have the same Cinema 4D file open. And then Dave started animating from there. And kind of once he did the first transition from the 2D to 3D, because it starts out 2D, the clock is all 2D in After Effects. And then we flip to this 3D house playground setup. And it's a really quick transition, but it really set the pace for the whole thing. Because I originally thought maybe we'd do some more, I don't know, elaborate blocks flying around and so forth. But then I saw this kind of really quick, just like almost a match cut of sorts with a really quick, you know, movement, which you can really see here in the wireframe. And I was like, oh, that really sets the pace for this. So we went forward with that. And this is actually the side. I wanted to show the side view of one of the transitions, the one to the swing, because it kind of shows how like all that matters is the view that you're seeing. Mm-hmm. So see how some of these just like pop on and off and it's like super chunky from this angle? In the short, you don't see that because it's just like the camera spins around and it hides a bunch of that. So I'm all about like, I don't care how things, you know, look that you're not seeing. It's just like, I just focus on what's there. You know, even in 3D, there's a lot of things that like, a lot of variables, a lot of extra stuff. You know, sometimes you need to build a really clean system to animate and work from it. But oftentimes, you know, you can just, there's junk just hidden behind, so just go for it. And yeah, lots of turning stuff off and on, just plopping things in there and so forth. So
yeah, that was like a new thing for me, is I never knew that you could animate like things on and off. Like I only knew about the display tag because I don't really use Cinema a lot. When I figured that out, Julie showed me, I was like, this is a game changer. Just like turning things on and off. Like I was like mind blown.
Because the Cinema 4D file gets really huge if you don't like turn stuff off and like enable and disable things and so forth. So I was happy that, you know, you got to learn. Dave learned a ton about, I mean, Dave already used Cinema a bit before this, but he really got to like dig in a lot further with this. So
yeah,
that was really cool.
I'm like really glad that we did it this way because I knew Cinema, but I don't have a lot of projects now that require it. And this was like a good way for me to just be like, all right, I have to do it. There's no doing it in After Effects because it's easier. No, you're going to learn it and just do it. So I'm glad that we did it this way.
So Dave spent quite a while in the graph editor, you know, doing a bunch of stuff. Wait a second. Oh, you know what? I'm missing a slide. I just realized. Where's that?
Oh, the wireframe?
Yeah, I'm missing a little thing. Where'd it go? All right, 1 second. I'm missing something that should be in here that would show you a little more detail on that. Just a second. Live PowerPoint happening right here. Just a moment. Oh my gosh. Okay, just a second. Where is that at here? Where did that go? Where did that go? Where is that? Is it? Where did that go? All right, hang on. Presentation. Where is that? I want to show everyone that scene. Where is that? How can I not find that? Oh, I found it. Okay, here we go. Sorry, just a second. Let me duplicate this. Okay, got it. All right, here we go. Check this out. Okay, here we go. So this will show like the rendered version, then wireframe, how it's building out, and then next you'll get to see some of the keyframes.
Yeah, Billy really liked this keyframe
Yeah, that's
timeline.
Billy hated this keyframe. But well, Dave, you had to do it kind of like manually, right?
It was like
just to get
basically stop motion, which that's kind of how I like to animate. Like every couple frames had a keyframe.
And like you had to do that just to kind of get the right feel. It seemed like, right? So I don't know. Like I said, I'm all about like doing stuff, you know, even if it's a little chunky or a little weird, you know, just do it, make it work. Billy likes things to be much cleaner, and often that is good in all of his 3D setups. But then like a lot of us, you know, we're just like, no, I'll just do it. Anyway, I'm just saying there's different ways to do art. There's different ways to do everything, be an artist, you know, everyone works differently. Things work differently for different people. So, oh, sorry, I don't want to show that yet. Oh my gosh, I'm adding slides to this presentation live as we go here. Just a sec, where did that go? Disappeared for me. Is this it? Is it? Oh, here it is. I was just trying to show this motion path, yeah, back and forth. Yeah, anyway, so that was the point. Yeah, it was, yeah, whatever gets the job done, as everyone's saying in the chat. Yes, no, Billy, I'm sorry. I make fun of Billy because he doesn't have his camera on, so. I make fun of everyone at Boxfort because I love everyone so much, so, you know, I can't help it. It's super fun. All right, anyway, let's continuing on. Okay, there's this again, all right. So the other part of this that was super cool and that we thought about was we wanted to have some animated textures. So we're like, okay, it's 3D. It looks kind of, you know, realistic render. It's using Redshift. It has like a wood texture. And like, yeah, we wanted to have like the feel of like a realistic wood block playset, but then we wanted to like break the realism by doing these kind of animated textures. So both Dave and Scott Hoke drew these sequences. They're like 12 frames per second animated textures. And then I added those on in 3D. So I had them all just draw them black and white so I can use them as a mask so I could color them however I wanted. So the shader setup in here, can you see my mouse cursor? Does that show up for everyone? You can see it, okay. So here's the Redshift shader setup. It's pretty simple, but it's not too big a deal. So the Redshift texture node is that is where the image texture is. So it's a PNG sequence of images that I brought into the texture node, and then in Cinema you can have a texture be animated. If you're in the texture node and you go to animation, you can detect the frames and you can bring in a PNG sequence. So that PNG sequence is going into this color splitter. This color splitter just bringing out the alpha channel, and that alpha channel, it's going through a triplanar just for placement, but that's going into what's called a color layer in Redshift. So the color layer is actually what's over here on the panel. So there's layer 1 color, which is the base color of the item. And then layer 2 color is also enabled. But you'll see how the mask is locked because the alpha of the image texture is the layer 2 mask. So that is just masking the color to get the look that we wanted. And then I'm back to not going to my slides here. So here's some of the textures close up. So you can see in here, there's that base color. Whoops, don't go. There's that base color, and then there's the mask color, like once again, the base color and the mask color. So that made it like, once I had the animated textures, I could easily tweak it, you know, in Redshift live when you have it previewing, and you could go in there and like, you know, because we had to tweak the colors quite a bit to get it to look right. Because we wanted the textures to be noticeable, but like not super contrasty. So there's a lot of balance in there of rendering and stuff. And that's what's great about Redshift and Octane and all the GPU render engines now, is that you can just see it, you know, rendering live as you're going and like tweak stuff and really art direct it really closely. Redshift is even more art directable. It's a realistic look if you want it, but otherwise you can like tweak lights and tweak shadows and luminance and like have lights, you know, not affect certain items and so forth. So there's a lot with that. That was really great in this. And Dave also painted the marble textures. So you'll see this marble texture. You can kind of see where it's going through, and you see a little bit of translucency there. So I did these zoomed in shots so you could see see all the things that you don't see when you're watching it animate. So I guess there's a little bit of caustics in there, but I wouldn't call it like, you know, too much. Yeah, so a couple more close shots here. You can see all that beautiful detail. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful.
I'm so lucky those marbles came out good because it was like really down to the wire.
Yeah, that was like the last minute.
And it was just like, all right, I'm just gonna make this and hope it looks good when we wrap it around a sphere, and it did.
Yeah, totally. And so the other part of this was the sound. So I decided to take a crack at the music and the sound design on this, which was super fun and hard, but it was really enjoyable. The whole process was. So yeah, this is just Adobe Audition, which has really nice colors. I wish Premiere had colors like this. So what's cool about Audition is you bring in a video clip and you can play it, you know, that video clip plays live as you play your audio timeline. So if you want to do some like live sound design, like record a sound as it's going, you can do this. And that's how I ended up doing a lot of this. So I have a little music set up at home here, and I'm going to show it to you all live in just a second. But a lot of the sounds and everything, to kind of get the timing right and just to see how it would feel, I was playing with the synthesizer live while I'd watched the video. So let me hop over. All right, here's our final scene, but I'm gonna actually hop into another couple of things here. So here's Audition right here. Can you hear this audio?
Yeah.
Cool. So I'm gonna play this without the music real quick, so you can just kind of hear the sound design. So there's the sound live. So one thing that was key to this though, so there's some sound effects in there, which I got from Soundly. Soundly is like a great, it's like an app that kind of sources from Freesound and some other stuff. But it's great. It's a great way to search and do stuff. Soundly. So check out soundly.org. And
Soundly is awesome.
Yeah, Wes would know.
It's what we recommend to motion designers who want to add sound to their stuff.
So super great. And you just grab chunks out of Soundly, drag it right into Audition, and so forth. So it's super great. Yeah, but one key thing, so besides the sounds of like marbles rolling and wood blocks moving, I wanted each of the little ball marbles, which are our characters essentially, to have their own voices. So you notice when they bounce, they have little sounds, right? So you hear the first one here. It does like some little noises. And here you hear three different sounds for the three different you know, characters, right? So that was a key thing. And that's where I was like, okay, well, here's where analog synthesizers and so forth come in. So I am going to try and show you my little setup live here for a moment. And this is probably going to be a disaster, but let's try this. So let me stop sharing this. And let me move my camera.
Oh, wow.
Oh, I have to switch the audio too. I'm going to switch. I have another microphone I'm going to switch to. So this might be a complete disaster, but let's see if this works. So microphone. So see if I can get this to down. Okay. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
All right. So I'm on a different microphone now. And what's cool is this microphone has effects to it.
Is this like a live?
Yeah, so I can get like this echo and stuff, which is super fun.
Are you going to do a live song right now?
I'm just going to show like my setup here a little bit. So, okay. So, okay.
Go, make a song.
Effects. Okay. No, so I just wanted to show, like, I'm not going to play the whole song here, but I just wanted to show my setup here. So I have this Volca sample, which is a little synthesizer that does sampling. And I have that connected to these pads over here, which you'll see. So, and then I have So I loaded up different samples and different sounds onto that sampler. So there's a little tick-tock from the music. And that was kind of the base of everything. I tweaked some like woodblock sounds to get this. And then that, you know, it needed to sound like a clock. I like that it sounded like a woodblock. So that was the whole thing. And then here's some of the beats. So some of it I was like playing live, and then I would program it on this thing. So it's super fun like doing music on a hardware sequencer because it's very like not in front of the computer, and it's really fun. It's just like a lot of looping, and you just like let it sit there and loop, and you like you put in different, you know, parts, and you just keep adding stuff in there and just, like go nuts with it. Crazy stuff. So it's super fun to like just keep playing and looping and just going to town with it. So anyway, that's how like the beats are set up and everything, and then all the other voices and stuff is on this little synthesizer. So this is the Arteria Microfreak, which is a fun. It's like a mix of an analog synthesizer and a digital synthesizer. I don't even remember how to play the song, but that was the first few notes. Anyway, that's one of the first voices in the song. And then I have a couple other voices for the different marbles. So like when it's going up the stairs, it's like that sound. And then some of it where it goes on the slide, I play with the pitch bend. So there's a lot of this like. So I was playing an audition. I was like, I had this part looping, and I kept playing. I was looping over and over, recording, trying to get the right sound, which was like tedious but super fun, you know. Here's one of the other marble sounds. So that's super fun to play with, and that's like, I'm sure Wes does all this stuff with sound design, and eventually he'll in person do a really cool sound design presentation. But this is my little precursor to that. So yeah, that's how I did the music, and that was a really fun. I gotta switch to the other microphone. Hang just a second. Okay, here we are. Back to basics here. Oh, someone else wants to join. Okay. So cool. I hope that was insightful for people. Anyone who plays with like synthesizers and stuff and wants to do that stuff. Everyone's clapping. I can't hear it, which is, I'll just imagine it. Thank you. Cool. Yeah, so that was super fun. And that was like really fun to, you know, go through and yeah, it was just, it's not something I expected to do. And like, and even as it was like coming up, I was like, oh shoot, am I really gonna have time to do, you know, music for this or anything? So I don't know.
Yeah, I remember that. You were like, I don't know if it has time, and you did it.
Yeah. I did the whole song in like one day.
Don't tell everybody how much easier sound and music is than motion graphics.
Oh, no. It's not easy. So, okay.
It takes so much less time.
Yeah, well, it does take less time, but it's hard to get it right. It's really hard to get it right. I'll say that. But anyway, yeah, the song though, I basically made in one day, and it was like that. I did that in Ableton. I had played around with some of the sound design beforehand with like getting some of the synth patches set beforehand. So I had a little bit ready, and some of the drum sounds I had figured out, but I hadn't really made the song until like, you know, the Saturday before like the final week we were going to work on this. So we were kind of working with just like a beat that I had going. So I got the beat going earlier, so at least we knew like the tempo and kind of just the basics of it. So that's where we were with that. So we can do some questions if anyone has them.
You play it one more time, Julie?
Play Recess? Yeah, I mean, you all can watch it on your own, but I'll play it from the internet. Just a second.
One more time.
Okay. Let me find. Man, hosting shows is really hard. I don't know how people do this like all the time.
One more time.
Okay, I'm gonna play it. Here we go. gonna loop. So one more time.
That is so cute.
There it
It's
is.
so cool.
Thank you, everyone. I love seeing all your hands moving. That's so fun. All right, cool. Oh, shoot. Hang on. Oh my gosh. Something else is playing, and now PowerPoint is still full screening. All right, how do I close this? Okay, so cool. Thanks, everyone. If you have any questions, stay tuned for the next box short. More will be coming. Despite COVID-19, things will happen. We'll make it happen. But any questions or anything? Just jump in, unmute yourself. Oh, Jeff, you have your hand up.
Yeah.
Following the rules.
I was kind of interested in hearing how you guys kept talking about you're up against a deadline, but it's just your internal project. So how do you guys work that? Like, what's your process? You just kind of do I don't know. You all agree on a date and hold each other to it, or?
Well, basically, when did we release this? Earlier this month, was that?
We try to do one once a month, but like, I think we have a little leeway. Like if it goes over a week into the next month.
Yeah. So this was basically, I think we released this like a week into March, right?
Yeah. And
So
it was like
this is-
the last week should be it should be done, but the last week should be any like last minute like sound or anything that needs to be adjusted, but just a full month.
Yeah. So like the previous box short was the lock that Justin and Billy did, and that was released the first week of January, or no, February. They worked on it in
week
January.
of February, yeah.
Yeah. So it was released in February. They worked on it in January. So we're like, okay, that was released in February, so we had to release something in March. So that's what ours was. Yeah. And that was just like, that's just like the goal now, is to try and do something once a month. We're going to try to do that for a year. Just
always tricky. So it's interesting to hear if you guys have like a pinky promise, technique or something like that. You just hold
it's more of like just shame. So like no one wants the shame of not finishing.
Yeah, you can't use your video camera on Zoom if you don't meet your deadlines. Hey, one other thing I'll mention. You guys mentioned using the on-off animation. There is a really nice plugin that I recently found called Toggle Visibility from the Great Summit that lets you animate to markers, so you don't have to go in and mess around with Cinema's like little radio buttons.
Oh, the traffic lights.
Yeah. Here, I'll post
it. Oh, with markers. Oh, that is, yeah.
I'll put it in there's the link.
Oh, that could be useful.
Yeah.
It's like funky in Cinema because you have both the visible in render and visible in viewport. And like you normally want to turn them both.
I just learned how to do like last month.
Yeah. This will make it easier and a little bit more kind of like After Effects, I guess. A little easier.
Yeah,
so
totally.
check it out. My eyes get buggy when I have to deal with too much animating on their radio buttons.
Yeah, because the timeline in Cinema doesn't have an in and out point. It just has the thing just exists.
Yeah.
Also, I mean, if you don't know, if you hold Alt while you click on the little traffic lights, it'll turn them both on and off. So it's like you don't have to do it individually, render and viewport. So just hold Alt while you hit that, and that's a huge one. Who's laughing? Nick Prenti's laughing at something.
Oh, sorry. I thought I was muted.
Cool. Any more questions? If not, we're going to move along because it's getting late. Cool. All right. Thank you, everyone. I really liked working on this. And Nick is really... what is so funny, Nick? Tell us.
What are you laughing at?
We're just roasting Evan in the chat.
Great. Yeah, so everything in Detroit, at St. Vincent, at Boxfort, Hobbs, Gunner, it's all done by shame and hazing and all that stuff. So,
nuts.
But that's because we all love each other. We're all a big family, right? Big family. Cool. All right, Wes, your turn.
Okay. How do I do this? So I do share screen, or do I have to like press speaker or something?
Share screen.
All right.
Share
my
your screen, please. Please share your screen, Wesley.
I
Wesley Slover. Are you having some trouble? There you go.
No, I mean, come on, give me a second. I didn't even know we were doing this in Zoom until.
You're an audio person. You're not a visual person.
That's right.
You don't know how
you'll see from my slides.
Works,
is it working?
It's working. Yes.
Great. Okay.
Oh wait, did you hit share? Do you have any sound or no?
No.
Okay, great.
You would think I would, but I don't.
It's fine. Because there's another option you have to set if you want to use your computer sound.
That's too complicated. Not going to deal with that.
Yeah,
okay. So I talked to Julie a while ago about possibly going out to Detroit. I'm in Grand Rapids, the other side of Michigan. Grand Rapids represent. I think I saw some Grand Rapids people in the logged in. And I thought, thinking about it, I thought, there's the talk that I should give because I'm a sound designer and I work in motion. But then there was the talk I wanted to give, which was I just wanted to talk about Dungeons and Dragons because I love Dungeons and Dragons. So thank you for indulging me in this. And hopefully I can share some of what I've learned from being a dungeon master, and it can be helpful to you as a designer. So first step, I feel like any of these kind of presentations, you kind of need to vet who's talking so you can understand, how much.
Everybody knows you. Come on.
So I am a sound and music designer, and I have a small company called Sono Sanctus that's been going for about 8 years. And we primarily work with motion graphics designers and motion studios. So that's why I find myself in this community and at Mograph Mondays and this type of thing. And then I've been a dungeon master for about 3 years. So after this, we can open the chat and be happy to talk about sound and music. Although, Julie, you covered that really well, so that's pretty awesome. So I'd be happy to answer any questions that I can afterwards. But first thing, I feel like I need to explain, what is Dungeons and Dragons? The way I like to describe it is that it's a collaborative, improvisational storytelling experience. It's collaborative, improvisational storytelling experience. Really what it is it's some nerds getting around a table and creating something that happens in that moment, and it happens once and then it's kind of gone. It's just for those people that are there playing it. So the game, you play with dice, with pens, paper, maybe there's miniatures, books with rules and story ideas, but really it's a game about your imagination. And I think that's why it really resonates with me as a creative person, because it's a game about people socially creating something just for fun. There's not necessarily any purpose to it. It's just fun. So the way that the game works is that one of the players is the dungeon master, and they are sort of setting the stage for the players to play the roles. Each has their own protagonist that they play the role of. The players tell the dungeon master what they want their character to do, and maybe they roll some dice, and the dungeon master decides what happens based on that. Oh, there's things popping up here. Is there people hazing me in the chat? Is that what's going on? Make sure I'm not missing anything important. Okay, cool. So what I really love about Dungeons and Dragons is just the way that it brings people together. And so this is a game that we did over Camp Mograph. And what I love about D&D memories, what I love about it,
together.
I know I'm uncomfortable seeing us all so close together. What I love about it is that there's just not really a lot of things where you can get a lot of strangers together and for them to be vulnerable and have fun together and laugh together. So that's kind of gives you a sense of what Dungeons and Dragons is, and then what it is to me specifically and what I like about it. So what's the point of this? When I started out as a dungeon master, and I think is the Mograph Adventure Guild here? I think everybody might be on the call even.
I think everybody Mike is here.
We made it. Roll for initiative.
I was here for a minute.
we're lost without our Steve.
Yeah.
So when I was interested in being a dungeon master, but I was also kind of nervous about it because as a DM, you are really like leading the game, and you have to think on your feet and kind of manage the people that are playing in your game, and it reminded me of what it's like as a creative director being in a meeting, right? Where you have to think on your feet. You've got to present in front of people. You have to respond to what they're doing. And I thought, I think that would be like a good way for me to practice that, but in a game, in something that's not like depending on like paying my bills and paying my employees' salaries. So I think that being a dungeon master actually is a lot like being a creative director, and that the players are kind of this weird mix of the client and the creative team that you're working with. Because ultimately what you're trying to do is the client, in the sense that like you need them to you're trying to make it fun for them, but they're also like your creative team, you're like junior designers or whoever, because they're the ones that are actually like making the game happen. So all that to say, I hope you walk away from this short talk eager to play Dungeons and Dragons. But really what's important is I think that hobbies can be really useful to us as designers. And I would love to encourage people to, find things outside of the design world that can make them better as a designer. So here are a few lessons that I have learned as a dungeon master. Establish design goals. So this is where I start every project that we're working on. And so I thought it made sense to start the lessons lessons of being a DM this way. So the design goal of the dungeon master is to empower the players to play the game and to tell the story of their characters. The dungeon master doesn't tell the story. I think that's a misconception that, the DM comes and they tell this story and the players get to be along with it. No, like the DM sort of sets the stage, and then the players are the ones that get to actually create and tell the story as the protagonists. And I think that is something that we need to remember as a goal when we are leading a creative project, that we are trying to empower the client. We are trying to empower the team that's working with us to achieve what we want. In D&D, it's like fun. But, it might be an advertising, it might be it, communicating something specific. It can be a lot of different things. So it's important to think about what it is that we're trying to do and to focus on that, and not get lost in all of the, the other cool stuff we get to make as designers, or cool techniques that we have. Along with that is to meet people where they are. So when I run a game, it's usually at my local game shop down the street. Right now it's on the internet. So actually we have a game on Thursday evening if anyone wants to get in. And when I run games, it's usually for a group of strangers. So I don't know if the people showing up are going to be like very experienced or maybe have never played once in their life. So beforehand, I'm trying to get a sense for, what is the level of experience of everybody, and kind of try to get a sense of their personality and what might be fun for them. And then over the course of the game, try to hone in more. And I realized like, like doing funny voices seems very fun to this player. I might try to focus more of that so that player can be engaged in that way that they feel comfortable with. And we need to do that with our clients. We need to do that before meetings. Like if I have a client where I've never worked with them before, I will do what I can to try to understand who they are and what their style is, and maybe get a sense for, what caliber of sound designers they've worked with before, or how big of a role I can see that sound has played in their projects. And also with our team to really understand like what their experience is and what they're great at, or like where, we might be able to help. Yes, and So this comes from improv. And it's basically an improv theater where you accept what the other actors have to say, and then you expand on that. And so it keeps the story going. It keeps the creativity flowing, right? So in D&D, there are rules to enforce this, where like you can't just say that your character is going to fly away from the monster because they're just like a person, you know, they don't have the ability to fly. But on the other hand, like I always tell my players that feel free to try to convince me that your character should be able to do something. And depending on how well you justify it or what story you come up with or whatever, we'll roll some dice. We'll compare it to your stats, and we'll see what happens. And I think it's a good way that you can take the creative energy from the people that are playing the game and like keep it moving, but also like restrict it in a way that doesn't just completely break everything. You know, with clients, we have like an extra level of the rules that apply, since our work, you know, isn't just this like completely imaginary experience that doesn't actually really matter, you know, these are projects that are going to go out and people are going to have to see them, and it's going to have to actually do something. So the way that I think of this lesson as being useful is that we need to say yes to our clients in understanding that what they're saying does mean something, even if they tell you to do something that is like, okay, well, this isn't going to work for these reasons. Perhaps there's something behind what they're saying that will help to get back at those goals, or help you to like learn something about the project, or help you to understand something that would be valuable. And so we always want to yes and like expand on what it is that our clients are saying and make that better, and use it to empower them. And planning to adapt. This, I think, has been the most useful thing, where when I started as a dungeon master, I thought, you know, what would be useful was just like the practice of having to, you know, be in front of a group and respond to things. But I learned that there are actually like a lot of techniques for dungeon masters where they can, you know, you're not just making everything up out of nowhere. I think that I as a dungeon master, I can sort of have all these modular bits and pieces that I can put into a game. So for example, like maybe if I have a scenario in a specific place, I might have some monsters, you know, up my sleeve that would sort of fit in thematically. So if the players are not, you know, progressing the story along, then there's a rustle in the bushes, and I just like dropped a monster from my toolbox into the game. And I think that is incredibly useful as designers, because it's like in D&D, you have these rules that sort of create a framework that you can work inside, and you can like make assets to fit within. And in design, like we have like design thinking as a framework, and we have, you know, references like before a meeting, I might write down keywords of things that feel like they would be relevant based on whatever emails we'd exchanged, or writing down processes so that for us, we have lists of different types of projects and how the process would go, so that we don't always have to like think of that from scratch every time. Using reference videos and reference music and sound effects is really useful. And even third-party materials, like D&D, it's like anything goes, you know, I can like rip off Mad Max or whatever I want to and put it into the game, and it's fine because it's, you know, just for a group. You don't do that in your projects at home. But you know, if you you can still really use, you know, third-party resources in a way that is creating something new, and it just allows you to like adapt more quickly. And the final thing, which is the scariest thing, but I think it's the most useful, is to embrace the lack of control. As a dungeon master, you don't know how the game is going to go. For my games, I don't even know who's going to show up or how many people are going to show up. And as a creative director, you never know how a project is going to go. But the thing is, if you can be prepared, like we talked about, but feel comfortable with the fact that like you're not going to be able to drive every decision and like, put everything on, on railroad tracks, then you're in a much better position to empower your clients and to empower your team, because then you're going to be a lot more responsive to ideas and things that come up. And it's going to create this sense of discovery over the project. And that is I think one of the best ways that you can get back to how do you solve the goals of the project in the first place. So thank you for indulging me talking about my silly hobby. And like I said, I'd be happy to answer sound questions, music questions. We can talk about D&D. And that's it. So I'm gonna stop my screen share. It is weird not being able to see or hear.
Yeah, I'm just gonna unmute.
Cool. Okay. Are there
pretty good.
any
I
questions?
just realized there's an unmute all button. I should have hit the unmute all. All right, I'm gonna unmute all for a second. Everybody clap.
Pretty good. My neighbors are like, what the fuck?
Yeah, any questions or anything for Wes? That was awesome. Thank you.
Really good direct comparison to what.
Dana Albert has.
Dana, yeah, go for it.
Hey Wes, so when you talk about design goals, is that different than project goals in your mind?
I don't think so. Like, I think of design goals as really just like, what are you trying to do? And like for a lot of times it's like, okay, video for Google, like our design goal is to make people feel comfortable with the fact that they have very little internet privacy, So, in that instance, it's like, that I'm being facetious on that one, but it tends to be like more simple when it comes to design goals. Does that answer your question?
Yeah.
Cool.
So you're saying they're similar.
Yeah, I think so. I think I might just use the term design goals, and but yeah, it's like what's the goal of the project as a whole?
Understood. Thank you.
Yeah.
Anyone? More stuff to say? Yeah, Wes, sorry that I presented about audio. I don't.
Oh, that was awesome. Well, I didn't want to. I wanted to talk about Dungeons and Dragons, so it was great.
But you will do a very elaborate and nice presentation about audio for all the Mograph Mondays chapters someday.
Someday, once we can all be together, and
I know.
We'll break out DJ Audio or Premium Jungle. It's my alter ego that's gonna drop at one of these like conferences or something.
Premium Jungle.
DJ Premium Jungle. He's gonna spin all the best stock music.
Audio Jungle.
Premiumbeat.com.
Oh my gosh! Do you spin the watermarks, the audio watermarks?
That's what I really want to do. Like at some
really
conference,
awesome.
Not tell anybody. Just put it all on and have like the watermarks and everything
so
in there.
awesome.
Got a link for that?
That'd be super awesome. Well, that's the end of our scheduled programming for tonight. I'm really happy that you've all joined in here. Hopefully learned some things and met some friends and had a reason to put on a shirt, take a shower. I don't know what I'm saying.
Cool.
I did take a shower because of this, actually.
I did too. I'm like much cleaner than I've been most days.
I was late because I was taking a shower.
It's optional. It's really optional. I mean, it's always optional, but it's like extra optional right now.
Super optional. Right now.
Super optional.
Yeah, but I take a shower every day anyway. And I shave before this too.
I mean, it's good to maybe, it depends on what works for you. Like if you need a practice where it's like,
brag.
It's like if you need like a process where like you get up and you shower and you put clothes on,
Always
Well, I
work.
hope. I mean,
know
I
we're all
guess you kind of.
remote freelance.
I know. But like some people need more process like that. There's a lot of people like that are working remotely that aren't used to that or they haven't done it before. A lot of us who freelance before, like, well, we know what it's like, So I don't know. It helps. Some people need the routine and the process, or else they can't get into the working. For others, though, it's like a freedom that helps them. So it just depends. Cool. Yeah, I'm gonna probably wrap up here. I'm starting to get a little sleepy and so forth. Anyone else want to say something?
Just thanks for doing
Insights?
this. It was really cool. All the
Oh, you're
presentations.
welcome. Yeah, you can thank me all you want. Anyone
Thanks,
else
Julie.
want
Gotta do more
Everybody,
stuff like
to
this.
thank me?
Julie.
Thank you, Julie.
Unmute all.
Everybody clap for
Very
Julie.
much.
Unmute all.
You gotta do
Adam,
this
good
more
job
often.
dealing with Alexander the troll too.
Yes.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, the freaking trolls. I didn't know that there were trolls on Zoom.
Yeah, that was
It's
wild.
crazy.
I
Oh my God.
that guy actually already. That was crazy.